Well, hi there, racing fans, and welcome to another edition of Winning Ways, where, unfortunately, bad news to tell you viewers out there. Lav's had a complication or two. He's had to go back to the Harley Street doctors. Things not looking good, but apparently he will be on the plane later in the week. But we'll ask him, we'll quiz him next week as to what's going on. Have you heard anything, Andy, about Lav, about his complications?
No, I haven't, but I was just wondering why he was watching Scotland play the Springboks. I thought he wouldn't have had a heart attack over that game.
No, I don't think it was a heart attack. I think there's other things, you know. That's why he's been in England. He hasn't been there for anything else.
Was he a liver transplant?
Well, no. His liver's fine. He's not much of a liver himself, but no, I've heard other things, more personal, but you know.
No, he kept it away from me. I was in the army with him for too long. He knows how to keep a secret.
Well, we wish him all the best in his recuperation, in his recovery. And as you see with me, Andrew Harrison, the editor of Parade magazine. And firstly, just great magazine again.
Thanks, James. Yeah, we try our best.
Under trying circumstances.
Very trying circumstances. There's only three of us to put the thing together. And towards the end, it gets a bit tense. So, yeah, we're actually starting this morning.
Excellent. Well, we're going to be chatting later on in your call to Karen Anthony. Most of you who follow racing will know Karen Anthony, probably the prettiest girl on the block she is, and been a great friend of ours for many, many years. And nice to get a small stable on the show, and we'll have a chat to her. But let's go into our three to follow. Well, we're going to go to Clarewood. Now, why we picked this up was most of you wouldn't have seen this race because there was a cable theft. So any Teletrack viewer never got to see it. I don't know if you got to see the race.
I wasn't there, James.
But we'll go and pick up Rockaberry Lane. This was the first race at Clarewood on Tuesday. And this filly was green as grass, as the grass she ran on. Let's go and pick her up in the Lammerskral colours. She has drawn 7. Falls out the pens. Sean Veal got a sheepskin noseband and a white star. You can see tucking in behind now, and she's in a reasonable position here. She seems to have a chance.
She seems quite keen, James. Yeah, she's keen to get on with it.
And then halfway around the turn, you'll see she just drops a bit, and now Veal's jumping around, having a good look on his inside, seeing where he can go, and
It's quite tricky when the horses are bunched like that and you got nowhere to go. What do? You either pull right out or you.
Well, here he is shoving it along, giving it a real scrub to stay on the outside of the grey horse. He's been pushing her along for a long way. Now she's found herself, but pushing her along. First horse off the bridle. Here, and she can't run a place, this filly.
No, but if you're watching carefully, you can see that she's very green. She doesn't actually know what she's doing.
Yeah.
He pulls the stick, she ducks in.
And she's still got quite a lot of work to do to run in the first 4. Certainly the 3 on her outside look like they're going to beat her. You know, here starts to run on really nicely, this filly. And I thought that this filly would probably improve over a bit of ground. You know, Mike de Kock's better over a bit of ground, and certainly with a bit of.
Yeah, Mike's got a sort of a set way of training. He sort of puts them over a sprint or 7 furlongs, gives them the prep, and then he steps them up to the right distance depending on how they did on that first run. So I think she will definitely improve when she goes over ground.
The producer will work out that when you're talking, the camera should be on you. Well, and not on me turning the page.
Well, they don't want to look at me, James. You're much better looking than I am. Yeah.
Anyway, Rockaberry Lane was the first one. We then went to Cape Town and picked out the first time. And now I saw this go to the start, to this Dynasty filly, and I thought this looks like she's got something. Let's see how she gets ridden. Carl Nisius rode her, and I thought he gave her a cracking ride for Glenn Puller. Dynastic Gold. Let's go and pick her up at the start. She's drawn 5. You won't be able to see her at this stage, but she's certainly up in the vanguard the whole way. She's got the yellowish colours on, and he gets her up there. He makes sure that she's up there, Andrew, and she's always in the play. She's got the yellow sleeves there. You can see her in the middle of the sleeves.
Yes. Well, you've got Carl. I mean, he's been around the block a few times. If the horse has got any ability, he'll get the best out of it.
Interesting to see Glenn Puller step it out, first timer. Sean Cormack goes round him on the fancied horse and looks to want to go, but Carl says, no, I'm not letting you go across me, and just keeps his position. And this filly's going well, and eventually Sean gives up the gallop and finishes at the back of the field, funny enough. So this filly might be quite a nice filly, the way she won this.
Well, she's moving very nicely now. So I was reading some punter's manual the other day, and the bloke says, you've got to back horses that can quicken. Don't worry about the bun and coke things. Horses that can quicken off a pace.
Well, horses that can quicken are normally the better ones.
We don't have too many, yes.
But yeah, she's now flat to the boards, and nothing's really going to catch her at this stage. She runs a very nice race for a first timer, and I think this filly might go on. She looks like she's quite
How
classy.
good was the field behind her, James?
Well, the filly that ran second is an Australian filly that they backed. She's always been there or thereabouts. She's got nice form to her name. The third filly had shown something. The fourth filly had shown nothing. But, you know, she won pretty easily.
She won very nicely, definitely.
So let's go and have a look at her. Glenn Puller might have another nice one in his yard. He's one of those trainers that always seems to find one that can run a bit. We go to Clearwood, and Sunday, the 17th of November, Jockeys International Day. Well, this was the start of a wonderful day for Richard Hughes. And he won on Social Network, looked like an absolute blinder. Interbet best bet, it was on the podcast. And you could have got 4-1 about this. But this horse that ran second ran a really good race. October the 11th, let's go and pick it up at the start. Drawn on the wrong side of the course there, drawn 5, and in the bluish colours, you'll see it just doesn't seem to get in the race at all, and it certainly doesn't look like it's going to run second.
James, I just find it, at all these courses where the jockeys just shovel over to the outside or the inside, it always worries me. And I was talking to Anton Marcus at Scottsville the other day. They were saying, but everybody moves to the inside of the track. He said, but everybody's too scared to go to the outside. He said, I would actually like to try it, but if I do it, I'll be in trouble.
I've tried it. I sent the horse down the outside, and between the 800 and the 400, you completely lose it. You look like you're there, and then they just quicker run down the inside. This horse got the blue colours and right behind the horse with the blinkers, yeah. And Hughes is behind the horse with the white sleeves and white cap now, looking for a bit of room. There he comes in the red. He gets down low, the little white star on the horse's face, and they come together here. And I really like the way this horse October the 11th ran.
No, James, kicked on nicely, and I think the more experienced horse won, but cheapest, Richard Hughes. That's a hell of a jockey.
Yeah, we're going to be seeing a bit more of him in the follow-up. But this is by VAR, the October the 11th. Sean Terry trains it. Put it in your notebook. I don't think it will be long in finding the winners' enclosure. Certainly looks like the business. We're going to go and have a look in Blast from the Past at Mill Reef. So that will be some fun for you. And we'll see what he looks like. There's a horse that can quicken off the pace.
Mill Reef looks ready, but Jeff isn't quite as sound. His right arm has been paralyzed for a time by a violent fall.
No, I was a pretty well 100%, but then I just come back from my accident and I had 7/8 of my grip.
Following the line that Pegasus began, watched by the seasons, gentle caressing hand, see the stars shine, sparkle in your eyes, wind flowing through your mane, sweeping through the sky, so free and easy.
Linden Tree in the lead from Lombardo and Homeric, and then comes Millreef in fourth place. Athens Wood making a little bit of progress towards the outside, and just inside the 2 furlong marker now, and it's Linden Tree in the lead from Lombardo. Millreef is third, Homeric 4. Then comes Irish Ball, still making good progress. Linden Tree from Lombardo, and Jeff Lewis switching his whip hand there on Millreef, and Millreef coming to join Linden Tree, and these two very little between them now. Linden Tree on the far side, Millreef in the sheepskin noseband, Lombardo hanging on, an Irish Ball coming home very fast too, but it's Millreef who's taken that advantage now inside the final furlong from Linden Tree. Irish Ball still finishing fast, but Millreef going away from Linden Tree, and then Irish Ball, and Millreef's going to win the Derby. At the line, Millreef is the winner, Linden Tree is second, and Irish Ball third.
This day will always be something on its own, an island of pleasure in the memory. A month later, he must face another test, this time against the best of his elders, at Sandown.
Inside the final 2 furlongs, and it's Millreef from Caro. Millreef with the upper hand now, the only 3-year-old in the race. Millreef from Caro for France. Then comes Quayside, racing into the final furlong, and Millreef and Jeff Lewis in perfect unison. They race up towards the line. It's Millreef clear of Caro and Welsh Patchington coming up to the line. Millreef wins the Eclipse from Caro for France, and then Welsh Patchington third.
When I won the Derby, I had a great ovation. When I won the Eclipse, that was the greatest ovation I've ever just seen in my life. And there was people shoving up umbrellas and waving papers right in his face, and I was thinking, God, he'll take off. And the little just man just looked at them as if to say, well, I deserve everything you're giving me. And that's the greatest memory I've ever got of him.
Millreef, how was that for a horse? He quickened up off a pace, didn't he?
Yeah, James, but you go back to those old horses. I mean, Millreef, Nijinsky, Brigadier Girard, I mean, they were pretty amazing horses. I mean, I cut my teeth on those sort of horses. That's what got me really interested in horse racing.
Jeff Lewis, great rider.
Great rider.
Yeah,
Great rider.
put the horse in the right place at the right time.
I'll tell you a funny story. When Pat Aguilar, the scout from the Tribune, we went up to Joburg. They used to have those jockeys internationals there.
Yeah, that's right.
And there was Smokin' Joe Mercer.
Joe Mercer, yeah.
We were sitting in the hotel room talking, and he said to me, Gene Hemming is the best trainer in the country. I said, why did you say that? He said, she told me to go to the front. He said, the horse could actually get there.
They were cards, weren't they?
They were cards, they were
used
good
to have
fun.
Greville Starkey.
Greville Starkey, he was there with Joe, yeah.
Lester Piggott.
Yeah.
Lester Piggott didn't say much, but he had a real dry sense of humour. He was fun. Right, well, we're going to move on and have a look at our plum of the week.
Das Best now starts to make a little progress up towards the outside. Back towards there inside. Golden Crystal is also trying to get into it. Magic Emblem is still in front. He's under pressure. Das Best up the outside. Wind Glider is now coming on well. Magic Emblem hanging tough. Das Best is trying hard to cut back that deficit, but he's not doing it. It's Magic Emblem. Start to finish, he's staying on to win. Magic Emblem stays on to win from Das Best. In behind them came Wind Glider. They were followed by Combatimento. Golden Crystal further back.
Well, we dedicate this show to Richard Hughes. He won the Victor Ladorum. That was a ride from the front on a 9-to-1 shot. On Interbet, you could have got 9-to-1. It's 17-2 to 9-to-1. And he just absolutely rode them to sleep.
He's just different class. He judges pace from the back, he judges it from the front. I don't know, the English style is completely different to ours. Our blokes seem to sit a lot lower. They seem to sit sort of monkey up a stick, but the balance is perfect.
Yeah, perfect balance. It's interesting they all ride with their toe in the iron now. And as you say, sit a lot higher, but they seem to be on a much more relaxed rein. The rein seems longer and the hands are better. It just...
Yeah, I think maybe in South Africa we tend to bully horses a bit.
Yeah.
Pick them up and make them go. They just ease them along. And you can see with Hughes, I mean, he's just different class.
What did you ride? 4 or 5 winners?
6, I think he rode.
In
the 3 days he was here.
It's just, look, up till I think the 8th race that we'd had, or the 6th race we'd had 6 different jockeys win. I think Murta rode 2. But they rode more winners than we rode, but we finished closer more times. It was very close at the end.
It was very close at the end. That one race, I think it was the second leg, where they were about 80 points behind, and after the race they were 10 behind. They went first, second, third, and fourth. Yes.
Well, we'll go in current affairs. We're going to have a look at one more of Richard Hughes's rides on Commodity Strike. But we're going to take a break, and we'll be back after you watched a bit of racing. Right, well, let's go with current affairs, and we're going to start off with the Victory Moon Stakes. Andrew, there's always a pointer to the Summer Cup. I think this is like the last big prep for the Summer Cup.
James, I wrote in my preview of the race, it's one of those difficult races. It's a Group 2, it's worth a lot of money, but it's a build-up to the race. So a lot of the horses are not at their peak, and then they come on from that. So it's quite a difficult race to call.
Yeah, well, we're going to pick it up in Joburg. This was Jockeys International Day, but the big one on the day was the Victory Moon Stakes, and we're going to have a look at Tiger's Retreat, I think it was, wasn't it?
That's right, yes.
He's very nice horses, and one like a good one. I think he can go on.
By X Coach Services. Gates are open and away and racing. Got them way to a good start. Tiger Play shows good early pace. American Storm on the outside is Sarissa. Knock Onward. Cherry on the Cake past all of them on the far side. The black and yellow colours. Menacing is in behind that with Master Sabina. Royal Bench is also passing them on the far side. Half the deficit there too. Further back in the field. Then we go back to the barracas towards the back end with Wild One racing towards the rear end of the field. And Bulls is there too. There must be about 14 lengths covering first to last year as they head away now towards the 1200 metre marker. 1200 metres left to go, and the leader up front there is Sarissa. That's picked it up by half a length from Cherry on the Cake in second. Royal Bench has gone up into third. Knock Onward, fourth position at this stage. Half the deficit is in behind that. Then comes Tiger's Retreat up on the outside. American Storm, Tiger Play's got about 7 or 8 to go with Illa Bella. Then comes towards the inside Master Sabina. Patriotic Rebel is racing further back in the field with Bulls further back behind those. Then comes Baraka, Wild One towards the back end, 600 metres left to go in the home straight. Royal Bencher moves up now to Sarissa, half the deficit. Tiger's Retreat is towards the outside. Knock Onward, the orange and white. Then 2 lengths away, Master Sabina is running on quite strongly, and in behind that comes Ella Bella on the stand side. 350 to go, Royal Bencher, Knock Onward on the outside. Tiger's Retreat, Master Sabina is coming home strongly on the outside. Tiger's Retreat picks up the lead from Master Sabina on the stand side. We set for a grandstand finish. It's down the inside, Tiger's Retreat. Master Sabina is catching. Master Sabina, Tiger's Retreat, very close. Maybe Tiger's Retreat from Master Sabina, Ilabella, and very...
Well, Tiger's Retreat won a very good race. Raymond Danielson in a very strong finish to get up and beat Master Sabina. Robbie Fradd had a winner over the weekend with the Jockeys International. And the third horse, Ilabella, looked to me to be the one to follow in the Summer Cup.
I think she ran a tremendous race. Yeah, she came up on the outside. But as I was saying, the race is too short for her, basically. Tiger's Retreat, that's his game. Absolutely. So he wouldn't be going for the Summer Cup. He'd probably go for that sort of a thing. And I also thought Alec Laird's horse, Royal Bencher, ran a cracker.
Yes.
I think he'll come on a lot from this run.
Yeah, I think he's being prepped for the Summer Cup as well, absolutely perfectly. Right, we're going to go and have a look at and chat about the Jockeys International, and we're going to pick up Richard Hughes winning. No, he won on one for me on Picador, which was a phenomenal ride, but this was just as phenomenal a ride. Commodity Strike for Tony Riverland. Tony told me that the horse was not quite ready, and he told Hughesy to sit as long as possible. Well, watch this. He's got like the orange sleeves. I think you'll be able to pick him up at the start, but he's tucked in behind them and he waits till right at the very end. Got sheepskin noseband.
This will seal the deal. Gates are back and they racing away from that 1200 meter marker. The Queen towards the inside began swiftly, an early leader. Microstators right there under Tom Quealy. King's Gold and Jamie Spencer just off them. Tyler's Talent over towards the outside. Last Eclipse. They're in touch with them, and then comes Atso's Hill. 19-14 just in the slipstream. That's the ride over Anton Marcus, just 2.5 lengths to make up. Further back in the running, you're going to find Legend Dancer. Fire Curtain tucked up about 5-6 lengths off them. Commodity Strike. Wide Open Affairs, they come to the last 500 meters. The Queen's along the inside. Aldrich White sleeves and cap. Over towards the outside. Last Eclipse is looking to get going. 19-14, just 2 lengths to make up. Towards the outside, Commodity Strike. Wide Open Affair now. Last Eclipse up the outside. Running on as Legend Dancer between runners, and 19-14 gets going. Last Eclipse up the extreme outside. Running on strongly as Commodity Strike. 19-40 over the last 100. Commodity Strike. Last Eclipse. It's getting close. Commodity Strike. Commodity Strike on the line. Got up. Richard Hughes. Last Eclipse is right there. 19-14.
Well, the Jockeys International really is a fun event. It's great to have these guys over here. And South Africa, congratulations to Pierre Stradum and his team winning it. It was fascinating and really exciting.
What's so nice about the Jockey Champion? Okay, it's a fun event, but you see two different styles of riding, and you actually realize how good those English jockeys are. Well, most of them are Irish, but I mean, they were just brilliant the way they did it. You watched Richard Hughes there. I mean, the rein, when he crossed the line, he was so loose. He's just relying on the horse to go straight. I mean, if the Commodity Strike had decided to go anywhere, he would have keep balance. The horse is just loving it.
If you watched in Turfentine, that guy Benoit, the Frenchman, I think he opened the account for them, and he rode a brilliant race to win, and not on fancied horses. These horses were roughies.
But I think they can just extract that little bit of extra. I don't think they bully their horses. They let them run, and they run on a loose rein. That horse that of yours, Picador, that Hughes, I've never seen a ride like that in my life before.
Well,
and he was just brilliant.
My take on it is that we should be learning out of it, and that a race like that they should take to the Jockeys Academy, and they should show this horse's previous runs so that they can see how people have ridden this horse, because the horse is consistent. When you ride him well, he always runs there or thereabouts, but when you give him that type of ride, he's just, good enough to murder a mate.
Well, he had 28 stabs before he...
28 stabs with every Tom, Dick and Harry. That all had a go on.
I mean, but the two blokes in front, they went like the clappers.
That did help.
But I was listening on the radio, going home from work on Friday evening. They interviewed Hughes, and he just said to them, they're going to ride tactical. So they'll see what mounts they've got. If they need pace, they will send someone to the front and sacrifice them. Or
I think that's one thing that came out of it. And the only real blob on the whole thing was that Stipes had them in apparently after the last race and wanted to give them all a week's holiday for, I don't know what type of riding, but it is a team event. And I know that the one jockey said to me in the parade ring after the race, he said, if we'd gone a bit faster, I would have run a bit closer. But he said the way to beat the horse that was the favourite that the internationals rode was to go slowly because it comes from off the pace. And so they did ride as a team. So you've got to accept it in the context of what it is. It's a team event.
But James, then you look at some trainer who's got 4 horses in the race and he sends one out as a pacemaker. It's pretty similar.
Same type of thing.
Same type of thing.
Yeah. But it was fun. We hope they enjoyed themselves. And you don't want to upset these guys and slap a dangerous riding ban on them or 7-day ban on them, because they'll never come back. They'll say, they don't need to come to South Africa. They say, well, what's the point? They've got some vicious type there that's going to put us in a box.
He'll be a Lester Piggott after he's riding the balls. What? I don't think he ever paid that fine.
No, he never paid the fine. But that was another thing, that Lester had ties with South Africa through the Rickabees. Yes. And he wasn't keen after that, but he did come back eventually. Any rand that he could earn, even if it was a rand, he was.
He's so tight, he squeaked.
Andrew, thanks so much for joining us. We're going to introduce Tom Callahan. He's just come to give us a little update over the year on the sales, and then I'm going to be talking to Karen Anthony. So thanks so much for joining us again. And
pleasure, James. Yeah, anytime.
We're looking forward to the next Parade magazine. Go back and
okay, I've got to start work now. Okay.
Thanks a lot. Okay, as mentioned, the CEO of Bloodstock South Africa, Tom Callahan. And Tom, it's been a hell of a year for you guys.
It's been a fantastic year, yes. We've had our best year in 5 years. That's since old Bertie Madoff made off with a whole lot of old ladies' money, about 2008. So we're extremely excited about how the year's gone. Against trying conditions, big competition, tough economic, woes out there in the marketplace, but our results have been fantastic, and that just bodes well for the industry when there's investment going in at tough times like this. So it's been a great result for all of us.
You've got to have support from the breeders. They've got to send you the horses, and you've got to have support from the buyers. The breeders have been phenomenal in supporting Bloodstock South Africa and the TBA venue, which is still the best venue around.
It's a great venue. It's obviously downtown Joburg now as things have moved around. However, it's still a fantastic venue and a place where we can run pretty low-cost sales. We have to generate profits to invest back into the industry, James. That's our reason for being, our raison d'être. And to do that, we've got to run low-cost sales. And as a result of making profit this year, we've been able to invest more into industry initiatives, of which the big one is obviously the export protocols, and we have to break these barriers down, and that's our job.
It was fantastic to see at the Ready to Run sale quite a lot of overseas buyers.
It was amazing. Sold 19 horses to overseas buyers, 2 or 3 new people to our industry, and it was just amazing listening to them, because we believe ourselves about our value and our quality, but they just couldn't get their head around the price and the type of horse that was available at certain prices. And the one gentleman had to keep on using his calculator to double check. He didn't trust our allotment board on the US dollar sign. He thought there was a problem. But yes, marketing does pay off. We've managed to get some new people from the Hong Kong and Eastern markets, and long may that grow. It's something that obviously we need to nurture, and more importantly is to try and find the solution to reducing our export times.
Okay, let's look forward. Next year, you've got your big national sales. Entries are just about closed. How does that look? How does the
entries
catalogue
have closed? The potential catalogue looks fantastic. So against all odds, once again, we obviously are a business under pressure, but the breeders are supporting us, and it really is just humbling to know that there are people out there that will not let the status quo change to an extent that some people perceive it to be changing. We're extremely excited about the national quality, the quality of the national entries, and the catalogue will be out early in the new year. But my suggestion is for people to start saving under the mattress over Christmas, because we really do have an outstanding catalogue coming up.
What type of, I hear that there's some new studs that might be joining you. You got entries from one of the big ones?
Yes, a big one that's based in Kimberley. I can't mention any names for now, Guy Murdoch. no, we do have some entries from new studs, and that's obviously fantastic. We need all the support we can get, and you know, it's tough. It's a tough market out there. We would love to have some of the leading stallions, especially stallions like Fort Wood, who's just one of my absolute idols. So we're extremely happy to have them on board.
Tom, fantastic. So it's looking good as far as you guys are concerned, and as you say, under pressure, but keep going, and you're doing a good job, and thanks very much for joining us.
Thanks for having me, and we hope to see you in the new year. And I really just wanted to say thank you to all our buyers and breeders who supported us this year. You know, we hopefully we've put on a good show. We've sold them some good horses. Our results at the moment are speaking for themselves. I mean, that horse we just looked at, Tiger's Retreat, that was a graduate of the 2010 yearling sale. We're winning the big races, and that's what people want. We want to win group races, and that's our goal, and we will continue to try and find the best horses in the country to sell, and we're hoping that people will come put their money down.
Well, thanks to you guys and to Empress Palace, who are fantastic hosts. They look after the buyers very, very well at their hotel casino, and you know, Bob Yerham and his team do a wonderful job as well in tandem with you guys.
Yes, without sponsorship, this industry will go backwards. We need to nurture our sponsors, and Bob is a fantastic supporter of the industry, and our continuation with our Empress Palace sponsorship is something that we're working on at the moment, and we hope we'll continue to add value.
Thank you, Tom. To Caroline, Tom, the whole team at TBA, we wish them the very best over the Christmas and the New Year, and we look forward to seeing them at the National Yearling Sales. We'll be back with Karen Anthony. Well, as promised, we get some fascinating people on the show, but none more fascinating than someone like Karen Anthony. And Karen, thank you very much for joining us on the show. Nice to have you with us.
Pleasure to be here. Thank you, James. Yeah.
You've been around horses all your life.
Yes, since the age of 6. I can remember the truck picking me up on Northcliffe Corner and taking us off to the riding centre in Honeydew, where we would spend the entire day grooming horses, having the best fun time, and dropping us off at 5 in the evening. I never used to wash my jods from Saturday to Saturday, so that I could just smell the saddle soap on the jods for the week. My nanny used to go crazy. But yeah, since the age of 6, I've been doing horses.
Then you became a very successful show jumper. You were good at that.
Yeah, during my school time, I spent a lot of the time in the water. I was a very good South African swimmer. And I only picked up my riding again when I was about 16 to really concentrate on all facets of riding. We used to do showing and dressage and then focus then on show jumping. And that became really my main focal part of the equestrian side, and I rode for many years show jumping and met Greg show jumping, and we had super horses together.
Always beautifully turned out.
Absolutely. I mean, Greg at Rand Show, when his horse walked into the arena, it was like bling, you know, it was like amazing. He cared for his horses really well.
Yeah, his horses were spectacular.
Yeah, immaculate.
Yeah, but you then got married, and but not to Greg.
I actually got married when I was 16.
Yeah.
To Brian, super guy, and we stayed married for many years, about 10 years, and I think we just having married as young as we did, sort of grew into different paths. And we parted ways, and I met Greg later on in the show jumping, and we were really nice, good friends. And then sort of over a period of time we got together, and eventually we had a super champ son, Warren.
Yeah.
And but there are 5 kids in the family, 2 from Greg's first marriage and 2 from mine.
Yeah.
Wayne and Cherise, Dean Lee, and then of course there's Warren. So we had a big family to look after.
And they're not in horses in any way, really, none of them.
Look, Wayne's the steering man of the family. I mean, he's the most diligent guy and works really hard. Cherise, there's never a time that I'm at races that she doesn't phone and say, "What time is your race, Mom?" And Dean is often on the course. He loves racing and following the horses. Just Lee, she's happily married. And Warren, I think, of all the kids, would walk in and say, "Oh, you're watching racing again on the TV." But he's a skipper and an outdoor Natal fisherman. And
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that. He's very good at fishing.
He's a fantastic fisherman. He just loves the sea and loves fishing.
But he got that from Greg, because Greg is a big fisherman, loves
That's
fishing.
it. Since Warren was little, we would come to Umhlanga, and Greg and him would stand on those rocks outside the oyster box and fish nightly while I stayed in the bedroom. So I was a real fishing wife and mom, having to wash off those clothes that smelt a bit fishy. But yeah, but they absolutely love fishing, and they still both fish.
And horses has always been your passion.
Absolutely. When we first got involved in racing, Greg and I went to the sales and picked out 6 very inexpensive horses, and they were bred along show jumping lines, probably.
Oh yeah, you thought they'd be show jumping.
And obviously waiting for Greg's license, because it was a private trainer's license, to be given to us. I spent time at Blair Athol with these 6 horses.
Yeah. I'm going to come back to you.
Okay, great.
Because we've got to take a break. Unfortunately, we've got to go and watch a race. So let's go and watch a race, and we'll come back and hear the rest of the Karen and Greg Anthony story, which is really fascinating. Right, Magic Millions. 4 winners over the week. Priano, that was a very good winner here at Greyville. Henry of York, Royal Nisha, and Royal Security Power, a couple of Roy Moodley's runners. And well done to the Magic Millions graduates. Remember, the Magic Millions sale is January. At the end of January on the Gold Coast. You'll be able to go there. Paul Lafferty's your man. And hopefully, as I said, he comes back from England with everything intact. But Karen, going on Blair Athol, you then started like a spelling business at Blair Athol, and you broke in horses and that.
We focused mostly on, obviously, on our horses, and waiting for that license to come through, which took actually much longer than expected. I sat on these horses myself every single day. I didn't miss a day. I broke them in, and they were so well schooled, they could have gone to a showing show, a dressage show, wherever show. And they were building our boxes at Reinkiesfontein, where we had bought a property. And eventually we got the horses home, and it was so exciting. Greg and I in the morning would get on these horses. Each of us took a horse, walked up to the old track at Reinkies before the new bowl was built. And we used to ride our own work and then go home. And I think the jockeys used to just look at us like, wow, who are these hugely muscled show jumping type horses that have arrived here, and these 2 guys that are riding work. But yeah, we loved it. Right from day dot, I loved the racing. I'm very competitive. And just slotted in straight away.
Were those horses any good? Was any of them?
They all won.
They
I think 3 of them, or 2 of them, won 3 races. Bison was one of them, an old campaigner.
Yeah.
And I never dealt with a vet in those days. Those horses were balanced, schooled. I there was no problem with any of those horses. And I would say there's a big hole in the market in racing today, where horses coming from the sales, before even like pre-training, those horses should definitely be raised differently. And I think we would have different horses in racing.
I think Mike de Kock has a big advantage with Diane working only with the babies and
Yes.
getting the babies right. That
I
does
think
help, doesn't
Diane
it?
does a super job. I think that so many people should, they probably don't really realize or know, because they haven't had the horsemanship background that maybe you and I and a handful of people have had. And how seriously important it is for a horse that's galloping on the track to be balanced. I heard
And
you
be able to change leads and do that.
to change legs. So many of them change legs and go nowhere, and go back onto the other leg and start scooting off again. They only work on one rein, and it's very important that those horses are balanced before they move on.
All right, so Randkiesfontein, now you guys now are private trainers. You train for yourselves
Yeah.
with the famous red and black and yellow
Black
colors.
and yellow,
Yeah?
that's it.
And then what happened from there? What made you become public?
Look, we just went then off to the sales again, bought some extra horses while we were bringing up the first lot, and you know that's how it goes. From year to year, you get attached and involved. We had super grooms. We had our show jumping grooms who once again manicured our horses at home, and eventually a couple of our friends asked us to train for them, and so we moved forward to the Randkiesfontein Centre where you guys were, and took up a barn and increased our string, got an open license, and we moved forward from there.
You're probably the biggest feather in your cap is that you got a guy like Sean Terry who was a punter, and
Yes.
he became your assistant.
Assistant.
You taught him everything that he
That's
knows,
it.
Sean.
You know,
and he still knows nothing.
Mark, don't you believe it? Mark arrived at our door with a few horses and said, would we train them? But with the package came Sean. And Sean didn't know anything. He knew a lot about racing, but he didn't know much about horses. And so we took it from the beginning. I mean, there were times where I tried to teach him to ride in a lunge ring, and it just didn't go, it didn't gel. But he's done extremely well, and I think he learned the finer things in his horsemanship from us.
Yeah, and that was really the start that he had, because otherwise he couldn't get into they couldn't get in,
yeah,
you know, it was
yeah.
just nowhere to go.
Yeah, I mean, today I would say it would really be nice if we had a stepping stone for assistants and stable employees to actually go through an equestrian academy and also learn the bottom rung before moving into the yards, because the trainers today have got so much on their plate. They don't really have time to spend with those guys and say, look, they're my bridles, take them apart and put them together. I mean, I can remember Lester, who worked for Michael Azzi, and he would, if in the afternoon I'd walk in and he'd be cleaning all the tack and bridles. He was such a gem assistant. And a lot of these guys might not know how to put that bridle back together. But so that would also be fantastic for racing, I think, on the other hand. I could go from ground roots and foundations.
Karen, let's talk about some of the good horses that you've had. I know that horse, King's Gold, you've done unbelievably well with him.
Yes,
He's always
yeah.
been Greg's type of horse. He looks like he'd be a good show jumper.
Oh,
But
he's a magic horse. I've got a granddaughter who rides, and maybe one day he's getting on, long in the tooth, King's Gold. Maybe one day she'll have him as a junior horse. But what a fantastic horse he's been. He's won 10 races. He was an inexpensive horse. He's had a number of owners along the way. Owners that have said, no, I've had enough and gone on, and there's been new owners have come in, and sound as a bell. What a wonderful horse he's been. We've trained horses like Battlestar Express, who won 8 races for us, the Golden Loom handicap. Tiny little Mutterful, who has done so exceptionally well on the track. Ella Jade, also a Mutterfoal. She won 8 for us, being placed in some nice listed races. We did well with the Mutterfoals. I think from 4 of them we won like 22 races. And just such super workmanlike little horses they were. Divided Loyalty won us a Grade 1 race.
Yeah.
The Style magazine at 100 to 1.
Gosforth Park.
Gosforth Park, Gunther Roggeman up, and what a day it was, because we knew she could gallop, and we were really out at the weights, 10 kgs out at the weights, and just such an exciting day for us having her win.
It's tough being a little trainer, as it were. You never really get the chance to buy some really expensive horses, but you've done very well with cheap horses.
Yes. We've had to, look, Greg, let me tell you, has got a very good eye for a horse. I call it a gift. I walk behind him because he's at sales and that he will just pick out a horse that he sees and say, well, that's buy that. And 10 out of 10, that horse can gallop. He's just got that gift, and he has a good eye. But we do have to watch our budget. We don't have huge money to spend at the sales, and we have to look sharp, and probably better off for it at the end of the day, because you really scan those horses religiously.
You've now moved to Durban. Durban's your new base. You've always wanted to be down here, I know, for the fishing. Greg ran a very successful spares business in Johannesburg.
Yes.
But now, it's now racing and training full-time.
Yes. He's full-time in the yard now, so we desperately need now to power forward and increase the string. We're sitting on about 30 horses, and having both of us in the yard, we're more than able to accommodate more. With our knowledge, etc. And, you know, maybe he'll do the colts and I'll do the fillies. Something like that. We work together very well. He's not afraid to say, look, why don't you do this? And I'm not afraid to say, why don't you do that? But we're loving Natal. More user-friendly, I think, as far as the owners are concerned. We've got some nice new owners involved in the stable, as well as having our support from our Joburg guys. They've stuck with us, and it's been really good to have them here too.
Anything we can keep an eye on for the future that you've got lined up?
James, we've got a young string of horses, really speaking, coming down. We obviously, our horses do train on, as you've realized. We've got older horses that race for us, and we keep them sound probably through the way we train. But I'd say we've got some nice younger horses coming through the ranks, and we'll just have to go sort of month by month as they come forward to race.
You're going to have to move to Summerveld. That's going to be interesting.
Yeah, it will be interesting. I have done a 3-month stint there many years ago, and enjoyed it. I think that it'll be nice, interesting. To lose the Clarewood tracks is going to be hard for me, because I think those are really super tracks. I think the horses do well. I think it gets very hot January and February at Clarewood, so it might be a little bit more forgiving at Summerveld. But I think, look, the way racing's going is fantastic. I think all facets and places in racing are well supported, and it runs like a well-oiled machine. The studs, the TV work that you do, all the departments are very well run.
Well, you know, we need people in this industry like yourselves, because true horsemen are getting less and less, and really you deserve all the success that you're having and that you will have in the future, and I think that you guys will make a big impact on here.
Thank you so much, James, and thanks for the lovely show that you guys put on weekly. We watch it every week.
It's only a lovely show because we can get people like you on the show. And Karen, really, thank you so much for coming and joining us. Karen Anthony, part of the Greg and Karen Anthony team, and I can tell you, I've been around them all my life. They know what they're doing with horses, and certainly deserve every chance that they can get from any one of you out there that might want to give them a go, because they're very good trainers, and we wish them very well in the future. And as I said, I've done this show with a bit of trepidation because I'm a bit worried about Laf. Hopefully he'll be back here next week and in one piece. We look forward to it. From me, Karen, and all the team here, hope you have a great week's racing.